And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today, we are going to be looking at three things that the Washington Commanders must do in order to dominate in 2025. And so before we go ahead and we jump into that, I first want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, just like Jaden Daniels is going to be hitting Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Zach Ertz, Jalen Lane, and many others for multiple touchdowns this upcoming season. So in exchange for hitting that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Washington Commanders. And so make sure that you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Washington Commanders Insider family as we talk nothing but Washington Commanders football. And so with that being said, let's go ahead. Let's jump into it. We're talking about the Washington Commanders defense and will they dominate in 2025? And so, look, I certainly hope that they are going to dominate in 2025. I think that this is going to be key for the Commanders, especially if they want to win the Super Bowl. And so let's start with really the three things that I think that the Commanders need to definitely do this season. And so point number one, I think for the Washington Commanders is they have got to get pressure. And when we're talking about pressure, I'm not just talking about on the quarterback. I'm talking about in general, turning up the pressure on offenses. That means that you are getting into the backfield. You are becoming disruptive that way. You're throwing off the timing. And then also, too, I think that this goes without saying, but you're making the quarterback uncomfortable. And so that means that you're getting the quarterback off of his spot when he's trying to set back to throw the football. And also, too, you're getting his eyes to look in a different place as well because he's worried about the pressure that's coming upfield here. And so I think that that is point number one for the Washington Commanders. By turning up the heat on these offenses and getting disruptive, you are going to put yourself into a great situation as far as flipping the field and getting turnovers. Now, how they generate this pressure, this is where it's going to be interesting because I continue to keep saying this, that when you look at the players that the Washington Commanders have just really brought in this year, I think that we're going to see players that really fit from a scheme standpoint, what Coach Joe Witt Jr. and Dan Quinn want to do with this defense. And I think because of that, they're going to be able to throw multiple looks at offenses. And so I think that you're going to be able to get pressure there because you're confusing them. But I also think that the unit is going to be collectively better as far as just getting into the backfield and then getting to the quarterback because this is a defense that has gotten faster, it's gotten more power, it's gotten some more length. So I do expect for this defense to be more of an attacking defense here in year two under Joe Witt Jr. And so that is probably why you're going to see some more pressure here. At least we hope so. And so next, I think the next critical thing for the Washington Commanders is they have got to generate turnovers. I think that that is going to be huge when you're talking about flipping the field and then also, too, just getting more possessions over to your offense. And so I think that, Coach Joe Witt Jr. and Dan Quinn, they want to make sure that they get a defense that is set to get turnovers because, going back to Dan Quinn, his days with Seattle, that was a team that just maximized turnovers that made it awfully tough for you to just go down the field. And then also, too, they made you pay when you turn the football over. And I think with the offense, the way that it is for the Washington Commanders, the way that it looks like it's trending here in year two with Jaden Daniels, you have got to be able to turn the football over because if they are, and I'm talking about the offense, if they are definitely maximizing time of possession, you're really getting teams to chase the Washington Commanders. You can only imagine what happens when you're getting the turnovers. And so this is why when you look at Quan Martin, you look at Trey Amos, you look at Jonathan Jones, you look at Marshawn Lattimore, Mikey Samra still, and not taking anything away from our linebackers and also to our defensive line. But I think that if you're getting that pressure up front, you're going to get the secondary back here that is going to maximize those opportunities because, like I said, that pressure, it's not all about getting the sacks because if you get disrupted back there on an offense, now suddenly quarterback is throwing it before he's ready to go. The offensive player is not where he needs to be. So I'm talking about the opposing team's receivers or running backs. And so if you're there and you've got your assignment and you're locked in, that is an opportunity for the Commanders to get turnovers there. And then when you're talking about getting upfield, then you're talking about the possibility of just backs not being ready for you. There's always the possibility that you have the fumble that happens between the quarterback and the running back. I believe that's something that happened there in that playoff game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? You want to be able to get upfield and put a lot of pressure and be disruptive that way. So I think that is point number 2. The Washington Commanders must find ways to get turnovers here. I think that takes this defense, this team to the next level. And lastly, sacks. All right. And so sacks, that is the third thing. And I think that really a lot has been made about sacks and just the fact that the Washington Commanders don't necessarily have, a person out there that is going to be geared towards getting sacks this year, a specialist, so to speak, like a Trey Hendrickson, like a TJ Watt, just throwing those examples out there. And it's not to say that the Washington Commanders won't get a legitimate, just straight up specialist in the pass rush department, because the season or the offseason's not over just yet. So there is a chance that the Washington Commanders can add to the defense. But I just think that what we're looking at with this unit is going to be, I think, really by committee. And I think that when you just look at the fact that Dante Fowler Jr. was able to make plays last season, nobody anticipated that. And I think that this year is going to be that type of year. And I think that it's going to be even better just going back to the scheme fit and just the way now I feel like that Joe Witt Jr. can disguise a lot more stuff, and you can bring pressures from certain areas. And I think that you can really utilize some of the versatility of these players that we brought over. And so expect for like the Javon Kinlaw, and then also to, Dedrick Wise and all these guys like that to have some great seasons. And then also too, we're also forgetting about like Dorrance Armstrong and players that have been with us. Like there's the real chance that we could see a breakout there. Who knows what's going to happen up front with Johnny Newton, Deron Payton, like all these guys could literally have just a really good season here based off the fact that you're getting pressure from so many different ways. But bottom line, the Washington Commanders need to find ways to get the quarterback on the ground. I think that this is something that as you start to do that, along with the pressure and continuing to attack offenses like that, you get a quarterback that I think starts to hear the footsteps, right? And so then that's where you can generate even more turnovers, uncomfortable back there in the pocket, always trying to get rid of the ball. And so that just kind of goes hand in hand here with everything that we just talked about with those 3 points. And so lastly, I think something that just really it's not even a question, and it's something that every defense has to do, and it's just playing together as one. This is a unit that really needs to be attached as an 11-man unit on a string, so to speak, because you just understand that, look, if you miss an assignment, it really could cost the defense there. It could be the difference between, a huge gain on the ground. It could be the difference between a huge passing play or whatnot. And so it's just all about being together as a unit, which I think you're going to see some more of that. An 11-man unit that is more connected here, that doesn't give up the big plays, and that hopefully is a little bit more of an attacking defense. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking about this as far as the Washington Commanders and just really the 3 points that I laid out here. I think that it comes down to the pressure, the turnovers, the sacks, and you can always add the added bonus here as far as being together as a unit. I think that just kind of is something that is just it's inevitable, right, when in football. So anyway, you guys let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. And as we always say, look, go Commanders. And I will see you guys on the next one. All right. Peace.